Hey there. When we talk about building a truly stable AI system, it helps to think of a three-legged stool. The tech, that's just one leg. The other two, the people and the processes, are every bit as critical. In this explainer, we're going to dig into why so many AI projects just wobble and then crash. It's almost always because the organization forgot to build all three legs. So let's dive in. So AI projects fail a lot. But here's the kicker. It's almost never the technology's fault. Organizations pour a ton of time and money into these incredible AI models, only to watch them go nowhere. Why? Because the most amazing tech in the world is completely useless if the organization isn't ready to actually own it and run it. This gap, the space between the tech and the team's readiness, that's where projects go to die. So let's talk about that. We're calling it the AI readiness gap. We're going to peel back the layers here and look at the real reasons these big AI initiatives fall flat. And spoiler alert, it's not about the algorithms. It's all about accountability. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's the classic case of putting the cart way, way before the horse. Teams get so excited and so swept up in what the AI can do that they totally forget to ask the most important question. Who's in charge when this thing does something we don't expect? This rush to focus on the tech is the root cause of so many problems. And when you dig in, you see this chain reaction. When ownership is fuzzy, authority just gets scattered to the wind. When roles aren't clearly defined, people just start making assumptions about how things should work. And it all leads to the same place every single time. Confusion, expensive delays, and a whole lot of unmanaged risk. These are the real culprits we need to hunt down. So how do we fix this? Well, the very first step is right here. Ownership is accountability. It's about making it crystal clear who is ultimately on the hook for how the system behaves, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Someone has to be in charge. And wow, this chart just shows you the difference. It's night and day, right? On one side, with clear ownership, you've got a solid foundation. You've got an accountable leader, defined roles for design and for operations, and a clear plan for when things go wrong. But on the other side, it's just chaos. Authority is a mess, no one knows who to call, and risk is just running wild, usually straight towards total project failure. And we see a couple of common traps that companies fall into all the time. First, they just bolt AI responsibility onto some IT manager's already huge job description. The other big mistake, they assume that their standard old-school IT processes are good enough for AI. Both of these are just recipes for failure because AI is a different beast. It needs dedicated roles and specialized processes. Which brings us to the core of the solution, defining the operating model. Think of this as the actual architect's blueprint for how your organization is going to manage its AI. And here's the thing, it doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It has to be intentionally and carefully designed before you deploy anything. Let's be really clear about what we mean by an operating model. It's the official rulebook. It's written down, it answers all the tough questions ahead of time. Who has the authority to approve a new model? What's the exact step-by-step procedure when the system throws an error? Whose job is it to actually review the performance data? If you don't have this, you're not operating, you're just guessing. And here it is. This is a visual of what a really strong operating model looks like. We call it an AI platform control plane. Now, I know it looks a little complex, but its purpose is actually really simple. Create clear boundaries, build in checkpoints or gates, and make sure everything leaves an audit trail. Let's break down how this actually makes a system safer. Okay, one of the most fundamental principles here is separation of duties. This is a non-negotiable control. Basically, the people who build and design the AI system cannot be the same people who operate it day to day. And just as important, the operators can't just push their own changes into production without some independent oversight. If we look back at our blueprint, you can see this separation very clearly. On the left, you've got the IT systems. This is the design and development world. On the right, you've got the OT, or operational technology systems. That's the real world, where the system is actually running. A good operating model enforces a hard, clear line right between those two. So how do you enforce that line? Look at these highlighted sections. These approval gates and change control points are the formal mechanisms. A change made in the IT world can't just hop over to the operational side. Nope. It has to pass through these explicit checks, which guarantees oversight and stops unauthorized changes in their tracks. This is exactly how you constrain authority and manage your risk. So, a great operating model isn't static. It's not something you create once and then file away. It lives and breathes through governance, but we need to kind of rethink what governance means. It's not just some committee that meets once a quarter. Exactly. Effective governance is an operating rhythm. It's a continuous, ongoing set of activities that are built right into the daily, weekly, and monthly life of the system. It becomes part of the job, not an interruption of the job. And this rhythm is made up of real, concrete actions. It means you are regularly evaluating if the system is still behaving the way it's supposed to. It means you are consistently reviewing the evidence, the logs, the performance data, to prove it. And it means you're constantly assessing whether the world has changed and new risks have emerged. Our blueprint here shows us exactly where all this proof comes from. Take a look at the bottom layer, the evidence and audit plane. The audit logs, the validation records, the change history, that's not just stuff for troubleshooting. That's the essential data feed for your governance rhythm. It provides the objective evidence you need for all that review and assessment. Okay, we've covered a lot of the why and the what. Now, let's get really practical. Let's talk about what your team actually needs to do to set yourselves up for success. It really comes down to these 3 essential steps. First, you have to be brutally honest with yourselves. Do you have clear ownership today? If not, stop and fix that first. Second, design the operating model. Put it on paper before you deploy the AI. And third, prepare your people. The best model in the world is totally useless if no one is trained on it or knows who to call when there's a problem. And just a quick but really important clarification. The goal here is to give you the principles of organizational readiness. We are not defining your specific org chart, and we are absolutely not giving a green light to deploy any particular system. This is all about preparing your team to align your people, your processes, and your technology in a responsible way. Ultimately, it all comes down to this. Technical brilliance is expected. It's the baseline. But true, lasting success with AI only happens when the organization is fully prepared to take ownership of the system, its behavior, and all of its outcomes. And that leaves us with one final question for you to take back to your team. When you think about how you all manage your critical systems, is that process based on a bunch of assumptions and informal habits, or is it an explicit, intentional design that everyone knows and follows? The answer to that question will probably determine your future success with AI. Thanks for watching.